Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing the monthly tarot/oracle card reading for the month of June for the fire zodiac signs. The fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So, the way I like to do my readings, if you are new here, is I like to go week by week. And for each week, I draw a card that is a guide or a guardian, depending on how it comes up. And then there is a message from Source. And then I pull a tarot card that usually gives us a lesson or a challenge to work on for that week. So June starts on a Wednesday. It's June 1st, this coming Wednesday. And there are 5 weeks on the calendar for June. So we're going to do 5 weeks out. And so it's going to do a little overlap with May's and a little bit of overlap with July's, but that's okay because usually those time periods need a little extra help anyway when you're doing the crossover. So for the first week of July for 2022 fire signs, we are using the Dragon Oracle deck by Diana Cooper, and all of the decks will be linked in the description below. And the dragon, for your guide for the first week of June, is the white gold dragon from Lyra. You need to get the light fixed on this thing. It says it connects you to your highest Christ light and develop your causal chakra and bathe in the 9th dimensional Christ light. Now your causal chakra sits right at the back part of your head, just above your crown, but to the back part. And when they're talking about the Christ light energy, it's basically tapping you into the Christos, which is basically a word for wisdom, I believe, but it's an extremely high frequency divine energy. And when, like, if you're going with the Bible topics, Jesus was Jesus of Nazareth, Jesus bar Joseph, until he brought in the Christ light, and then he became the Christ. It's an extremely high frequency spiritual energy. So this first week, it looks like the guide that's working with you is the white gold dragon from Lyra, and so that's going to bring in that Christ light energy. It's a way for you to work on developing your spiritual connection to a very, very high degree. And during this first week, the guide is here to help you develop that. And it might be something like finding a new course to help you develop spiritually. It'll lead you to a new book, or it could just help you work with a challenge that you're working on if you're with your meditation program. But this week is all about working with your connection to Source using the white gold dragon from Lyra. So our message from Source comes from the Mystical Wisdom deck, and then the Tarot deck is the Tarot Art Nouveau deck. But the mystical, or the message from Source is the children. It says, know that your children are protected. And so your message from Source is saying that your children are protected. Simple enough. But it's not. Because they're not talking about just your physical children. You have an inner child. And that inner child sometimes is where you carry your trauma or any stress or negativity that may be coming around in your life. So when it says the children are protected, it's really saying your physical children, if you're a parent, are protected. And if you're not a parent, then it's time for you to look in. And even if you are a parent, look in. But that inner child, that part of you that basically stops growing when you have your first traumatic experience. There's an aspect of your mind that actually stops at that point, and that's your inner child, and so, or your spirit, not your mind. And so this is saying that it's time to really do some healing work with that, and that's where calling upon your guide for this week, which is the white gold dragon, can help, because this dragon brings in this high frequency divine energy, and that is how you can help heal and work through some of these childhood traumas and that inner child issues. And it's also saying as a reminder that if you are in the physical world have children, that they're protected and guided and guarded as well. So let's see if there's a challenge or if it is a lesson that can be worked on through the tarot for this first week of June 2022 for fire. and it is the Knave of Pentacles. And so whenever the pentacles show up, it's usually an earth sign. So what this card is saying, that this first week is a really good time to slow down and really pay attention to what your finances are doing right now. It's not saying good or bad, it's just saying reassess, examine, see what's happening, and then make your decision from a point of wisdom and knowledge based on what you have discovered. This is a time, what the tarot is saying is it's time for you to really look at what's going on in your financial world and in your home, because the pentacles working with earth is all about the everyday, the household, the family, and the finances. So this is a time just to kind of look at how things are going right now, take stock, do some evaluations, and make your decisions at a later time based on what you're doing this week. So for your second week of June 2022 fire signs is the Crystal Yellow Dragon. Open to your higher learning and wisdom, expand your crown chakra for illumination, and working with your higher spiritual path. And so with that, you're basically still working with your very, very high chakras. You're still bringing in that really high frequency spiritual energy, and what this is saying is it's time to really start to focus on that crown chakra. It's the crown, which is the little, a lot of people have like a little flat spot on the very tippy top of their head, and that's where your crown chakra sits. And in Hindu beliefs, it's 1,000-petaled lotus. Each lotus is a lesson. So as you learn lessons, the lotus opens up. And so you're really wanting to look and work on the second week energy of building and opening and developing that spirituality. Your first week was bringing it in, really bringing in that high frequency, that Christ-light energy. And in the second week, it's all about, now you've got it in, work through those lessons, start to really clear out the stuff that's in the way. And this dragon, the crystal yellow dragon, is a good one to help bring in that energy, to help you clear out anything that's in the way, and understand that as you clear things out, it releases space so that other things can come forward. We are only basically allowed to deal with stuff that we can handle at this moment. Source is never going to overwhelm you, so if you're dealing with things, especially emotionally or spiritually, that are very traumatic for the moment, you're not being overwhelmed. This is what you are here to do, and this is where your soul is agreed to handle this level of stress. Doesn't always mean it's easy, doesn't always mean it's nice, but that's where we're at. So your message for the second week from Source is the illusion. It says, embrace the truth. So what you're doing with this first week is you have this crystal yellow dragon that is helping you open up your crown chakra, really helping you see things for what they really are, and learning those lessons and processing all of that. And this card is saying, and what Source is saying for this second week, is it's time to break your illusions. If you've been living in this imaginary place, which we all do to a certain extent, but if this is where you're at, it's time to let go. Step back from a situation, take yourself emotionally out of it, and allow yourself to see, to experience, and understand what the truth of the matter is. So you as a fire sign tend to be all about, let's just get it done, let's burn through this, let's tear it down, just do it. You're really high energy. But you're dealing with a lot of error in this card, and what it's saying is the error is very much about truth and cutting away the illusion. The error's symbol is the athame, or the sword, and so it's all about cutting, clearing, and freeing. So doing that and then having your fiery personality to burn away all of those illusions, you have a dual edge in this second week that's going to help you really work through some pretty heavy energy, is what I'm hearing. So let's see what the tarot has to say as a lesson or challenge for the second week of June. I really do appreciate this particular deck. It's very much about let's get going. So your message from tarot for the second week is the Tower card. And so when you look at what's going on this week, it's actually very much a cohesive story. You have the crystal yellow dragon coming in to help you open your crown chakra, work through these lessons, and help to expand your who you are. You have the illusion as a message from source that's telling you it's time to cut some of this stuff away, clear it out. You need to understand who you are and be way more truthful. And the Tower card is like, yo, we're here to tear down the stuff that's not working for you, and from the ashes, from the rubble of all of that was destroyed, you can rebuild and you can start to really move forward in a profound way. So this second week is all about clearing it out, learning your lessons, and stepping forward. So in the second week of June, it looks like it could be a little bit of a rough spot, but at the same time, the reward is so worth it. Because when you start to really tap into that spiritual aspect of who you are, the rewards mentally and spiritually are so much better than staying in that stagnant environment where you're just not being fed spiritually or mentally, and this second week is all about clearing it out. So now on to the third week, and it is the blue dragon from the Pleiades. Prepare you to accept source healing, accept a heart activation, give and receive heart healing. So we've went from this very high energy, bringing in all this divine energy from source, the Christ light energy in these past few guides. This one is all about reconnecting and bringing that loving energy into your heart center. So when you have the blue dragon from the Pleiades coming in, what it's really coming in to do is you've went through 2 weeks that were a little bit rough. You've dealt with some things, and if you're real journaling and working through, you can see that there's been some stuff pop up during those first 2 weeks. During this third week, what it's saying is now it's time for some self-care. Take care of who you are. Love yourself is a big part that's coming through, because you're bringing in spiritual energy. Energy from source is all about a loving feeling, and it's all about bringing in that compassion for yourself, for others, feeling the compassion from source. And so if you're working on breaking through some of these barriers this third week, it's a good week to work with the blue dragon from the Pleiades. So your message from source is the battle of the blues. Take steps towards positive change. So you've been working through clearing out illusions. You've been working through tearing down some of the things that aren't working for you. And from experience, when you go through that, it tends to shake you up a little bit, and it can bring you to a point where you're feeling a little depressed, a little down. And what this card is saying is it's okay to take a day or two just to relax, to allow yourself to process, work through the stuff that's coming up. Don't just, it's here, so I have got to deal with it right this second. No. Calm down. You can literally work through these issues as they come up. And if something comes up that's very triggering, and this is good advice anyway, but right now it's saying that if something comes up that's extremely triggering, find a place of comfort. Go to a friend that you know that is going to be understanding and supportive, not so much that's going to sugarcoat it, but someone who's going to support you as you work through this issue. And really just kind of claim that birthright of, I am a divine being. I am a child of source energy. Therefore, I do have the right to heal from this. And as you work through that, you will notice that those periods where you're down are going to become shorter and less intense over time. I'm not going to say it's going to happen magically, but it will over time start to settle down. So your message from the tarot for this third week is the Six of Pentacles, back with that earth energy for you guys. And so what it's saying is your first part of this last couple of weeks you've been all about examining, tearing down what's not working, and this one is saying time to let go of some of the stress over it. If especially household things like stress over money, and maybe it's even a relationship, what this card is saying is, why are you stressing over this? This is something that comes and goes. Money is just energy. Work through it. And this card is all about maybe stepping back. Like if there's something that you're doing that it's really eating a lot of finances up, or it's starting to cause some stress in your relationships, or with just in your own mind, it's time to, is it really necessary? Kind of get rid of it, because I mean, when you look at the lady on the card, if I can get her, there she is. She looks very blasé, like, why? Why bother? It's just not important anymore. And so understand that if something's coming up that you're just feeling like, why am I still paying for this? Or why am I still dealing with this? That's what the lesson for the week is basically, what can you get rid of? What can you clear out? What, maybe if it's like you haven't watched Netflix in 4 weeks, why are you still paying for it? Something like that. So let's move on to the 4th week of June for 2022 fire signs. And we have the air and water dragon. Helps connect you to your higher frequencies, trust your intuition, develop your psychic abilities, be open to enlightenment, and express your inner being. And so for this 4th week, you're going back to the spiritual fast track. And when you're working with air and water, it's intellect and emotion. So you're really, during this time, you're going to be focusing on an educational practice, quite possibly, or you're going to be working through a lot of emotions, but you're going to try to do it through an analytical state. Like, possibly, and if this is something that you need, I'm all about these kind of things, possibly finding a therapist or someone who can help you that's an outside voice that might have more knowledge, or it could be a really good friend that, for some weird reason during this week, is going to give you some really good advice. And this is the 4th week of June. So you're getting, well into summer at this point. And so it's just time to really start to examine and look at what can you do to help clear out your mind, clear out your emotions, and this is where the air and water dragon can come in, because it can really help you reconnect with your emotions, reconnect with your mind, and find the balance between the two, because that is always a trick when you have to get your mind and your emotions on the same page. So your message from Source is moving forward. Get ready for positive change. So this has been a busy month, especially energetically for you, fire signs. And what this is saying is, you've got the air and water dragon. Let's bring some cohesion between your mind and your heart, your mind and your emotions, your intellect and your feelings. Get that all into balance, because you're moving forward, which is an attribute of being in fire. And you're getting ready for those big changes, those positive changes. And it could be something as simple as a shift in your finances. Something that something stops and it improves in a different area. It could be something like a relationship. What they're saying with this one is, just be open to the new experience, to that more positive, happy environment that is coming, and just allow it to be. And that's where, when you bring your heart and your mind into an alignment, it actually does trigger a shift in your energy field. There's several people out there that are doing studies into just that, and how to bring, it's called entrainment, where your heart and your mind are actually on the same page. And when that happens, it literally shifts you out of where you're currently are sitting energetically and emotionally, and it puts you into a much higher frequency. And so that is the type of changes that they're trying to get through, is you're working with your air and your water, your heart and your mind, and you're looking for positive changes this week. So this 4th week, just be open to those be open to the joy, be open to the happiness that you deserve as a child of the divine. Now you have a lot of earth in your message from the tarot this week, fire signs, or this month. So you have the 4 of Pentacles coming up for the 4th week. And so what they're saying with this one is more about your relationships with your family, your intimate family, your spouse, your children, things like that, the people in your household. And this is all about building some bridges, clearing up any disagreements or arguments. This 4th week is all about mending things that need to be mended between your heart and your emotions, opening yourself to those positive changes. And what the tarot message is, fix the things at home. If there's an issue that's popped up over the last few weeks, or it's been a continuing issue, this is the time to try to work through that. Bring in an outside person if necessary, but bring in the air and water dragon before you even start those conversations. And, pray to Source, pray to God how you you see him or her, and allow that guidance to come through very, very strong for this week so that you can clear up any discrepancies or misunderstandings that may be in your immediate household. So this is the 5th week we're looking at now, and it is the Golden Orange Dragon. Expand your light for ascension, be peaceful warrior, help those in need, and remember, you are magnificent. So this is a very powerful way to end the month. The Golden Orange Dragon is actually a fire type dragon, so this is an alignment very specific to you, fire signs. And expanding your light for ascension sounds very esoteric, but it's actually simple. You're expanding your aura. You're expanding that loving feeling between your heart and your mind. When they come into alignment, it's expansion. It's all about growing and showing, not through words so much, but being able to allow that inner radiance to come forward and to really shine. Let your soul radiate to its highest potential during this 5th week. And when you do that, the thing you're going to notice is when you start to really open up and you feel that love coming from source, you love yourself, you've worked with your inner child, and this energy is just starting to expand outwards, other people will notice. They may not say anything outright, but you will be affecting your environment. Everywhere you go, you're going to bring that light, that joy, that happiness, that abundant nature with you as you move through. And so the Golden Orange Dragon is saying, I will come forward, I will help you, we can work through this together, and you can really expand and get back to your speedy, fire-based, I've got to do it now energy. So your guide or message from Spirit is the animal bond. Stand up for animals. So during this 5th week is also a really good time for you to do some spirit animal research. If you have not done anything like this before, there are books by Ted Andrews, by DJ Conaway, that are really good for beginner primer type work, where you start understanding that each one of us carries with us a spirit guide or spirit animal. And that's what this message is all about, is really starting to tap back into that primal nature. Tap into that primal part of who you are. What animal calls to you? What animal is coming forward in meditation frequently? Or what's one that you've been obsessed with your entire life? And then do some digging. Find out why. What does that animal stand for? What does that animal mean? How does that apply to my life? You know, all those big questions that we apply to everything in this metaphysical world. But it's all about really tapping in for that 5th week into the animalistic part of who you are. Now your message from Tarot is another Pentacles card, and I did shuffle the deck, so it is the 5 of Pentacles. So this last week of the month, and I'll be careful not to show this one for too long, this last week of the month is you're worrying a lot about finances, and with, you know, the way of the world, which it's kind of chaotic right now, understandable. And what this card is saying is it serving you? Examining your finances and looking at them, figuring out what you can let go of and how to rearrange things is what you've been trying to do this month, this entire month, because you only have one card that's not a pentacle. And what this card is saying during this last week is, don't get stressed out or bogged down over, oh, I have to provide, or I have to spend, or I have to, because you don't have to. You should provide for your family. You should make sure the roof over your head is paid for. And you do need to do those things because that's a responsibility. But the have-tos of, oh, I have to throw a barbecue. No, you don't. I have to spend a ton on fireworks next month. No, you don't. I have to do, but do you? And so what this card is saying is just be more aware of what's going on at this time, and those have-tos may not be as important as the should-dos or the I need-to-dos of taking care of the family, the house, the home, and that type of patterns in your life. So hopefully this resonates for you, and fire signs, and if you would like to know what other services I offer, you can check out the link in the description as well, and I will see you again in the next video.